let's get started. Typically, for the monthly recaps, I read the featured stories first and then I go into the second portion of this. I am going to still do that, but I do want to caveat that I do not have guests with me for this one. Uh, is the cat's out of the bag a little bit as to who was going to join me because Sean went ahead and wrote a Substack note about it, I believe last night or sometime yesterday. But originally, I was going to have on Sean Thomas McDonald and John T to talk about their book that's coming out, um, Blood in the Yolk, which is coming out May 13th next week. Um, I will be talking to them. That will be happening, but because Sean is feeling a bit under the weather, we decided to not have both of them come on since they're both coming on for the same reason. So it's just me. I have no guest with me. I know I said I was going to try to have a guest on every month, and not this month. But that's cool, just me. I do have a few things to talk about at the end, so I will do that. But like I said, I do want to still stick to the original plan of starting with the featured stories and then moving into the rest. I do also want to point out how monthly recaps work because I'm not sure if it's really clear or not. And I think I came up with the best way to explain it, and it'll be in this month's email. So specific to medallions, if you are wondering if your story is featured, if you will be getting a medallion or not, when it comes to the monthly recap, any story featured that has an asterisk in front of it has a medallion in the folder. So, the way monthly recaps work is it's supposed to be a recap of the previous month, but there are also some stories that didn't get featured in the previous month that I want to feature. And so this is my opportunity to kind of give you a 50-50 split. So so the way that I do it in my crazy mind is I go back to the previous weeks. In this case, it's 5 weeks. So issue numbers 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I went back to all five, and in each week, I selected one story that was featured, and this is a random selection, and then one story that was an honorable mention, so that if you do the math, 5 times 2, that's 10 stories. So there will be 10 stories that are considered the recap portion of going back and revisiting and bringing forward one more time stories that we have already seen featured from the previous weeks. Then I allow myself 10 spots to put in stories that were not featured or an honorable mention from the previous week. So these are stories where I can go back and look at the recommendations. I might find some things along the way as I'm always in Substack notes. And I like to take tons of screenshots every time I see a story or find a new person who's written a fiction story. I'll take screenshots and then I go back through my photos, look at all the screenshots. And a lot of the people I find is that process. So that's where it's a 50-50. So there are 10 stories that are a mix of um, featured and honorable mentions, and then there are 10 stories that you have not seen featured or as an honorable mention, but that were written within the timeline of the past several weeks that encompass the month. Um, Now, the way medallions work is if you were a featured story and I'm selecting you again to be in the monthly recap, you already have a medallion from your week, whatever your week is. However, if you're an honorable mention, and that means you don't have a medallion because honorable mentions during the week don't get a medallion. But the exception is if you're an honorable mention and I re-mention you during the monthly recap, then you do get a medallion. So this is the one and only opportunity that someone as an honorable mention has a chance for me to feature you in the monthly recap. So when you get these emails, and you can look back through previous emails because I've been doing this since the since at least the beginning of this year, if not some of last year, I implemented this where one asterisk means it's a new story. It was written in the past month, but it was in none of the weekly issues that I gave out. Two asterisks mean it was an honorable mention from one of the previous weeks. It's now being mentioned again here, but because it's in monthly recap, it is now eligible for a medallion. But the easiest way to know if you should be getting a medallion or not is if your story has one or two asterisks in front of it. Then go to the folder and find your medallion. So now that I've exhausted that explanation, hopefully people will start to understand how this works because I know sometimes people get confused when they know they've been because you get notified when I feature your story here. So if you've seen yourself be notified previous weeks and then you get another notification saying you've been featured again and you go in here, but then you might go in the folder and not find a medallion, it's likely because you already have a medallion and you need to go to the folder for that week in order to get it. The only time if you've been featured, if you've been in a weekly issue before and you get notified again, if you were an honorable mention, then in this instance, you will be receiving a medallion for being in the monthly recap. Okay, got it. Now, here is the monthly recap number 4 for the month of April in 2025. These stories were all written between March 29th through May 2nd. Poetry. Demeter at Dusk, written by M. Devereaux of Distillist. Merlin, by Jude Goodwin of Jude Goodwin, Canadian poet. Heavy Body Organs, written by Alex B. of Abstract Alex. What If Heaven and Hell Were Reversed, written by Mina Howell of Mina Howell. Micro/flash fiction. The Wheel and the Glass, written by Elizabeth Grace Foley of The Second Sentence. Demon, written by Layla Shaw of Layla Shaw. Temperamental Twisters, written by Josh Louis of Fantasy and Fellowship, fiction by J. Louis. If Pretty Is as Pretty Does, written by Stories Sown with Hope of Stories Sown with Hope. Short story. Comatose Living, written by Alex England of Alex England. Richter's Box, written by Drew Valdez of Meat Sandwich. Child of Clay, written by Garen Marie of Only Child Originals and Keith Long of Losers Fiction. The Collector, written by A.R. Eldridge of The Eldridge Horror. Number 123, written by Jack Nagy of Scrapbook. Short Serial. Holy Smokes Part 1, written by Theo Priestley of Tales of the Unexpected. Blue Canary Part 1 of 2, written by A.P. Murphy of The Strangeness Kit and James Worth of Just Wonderin'. Serial. The Call, Murmurs in the Walls, Episode 1, written by Bridget Riley of Naptime Novelist. The Flaming Furies, Shadows in the Spotlight, Episode 12, written by Mona Walsh of Shadows in the Spotlight. Acting Captain, Captain's Way, Chapter 26, written by Joe Mahoney of Assorted Nonsense. Anthony's Angel, Chapter 22, written by Janelle Westenberry of Love Stories by Janelle Westenberry. Bryce, What's a Dragon, Chapter 43, written by Dragon Rider Luke of The Dragon's Den. Okay. So those are all of the monthly recaps. So now a bit of news before we wrap this up. This will be a short one because I don't have like I said, any guests on with me. So hold on one second. I did not put up my out of office here. Okay, so I just started doing this thing as of this past Monday, where I'm trying this going on around Tiff Town. I don't know why I like Tiff Town. It sounds silly, but it works. Um, So I just want to reiterate that we have TIFF voices, and it's so funny that we have this because just recently Substack announced that they are now going to open Substack Live for people to do audio only, which is essentially what TIFF voices is for. It replaces TIFF Sociable because I didn't like the name of TIFF Sociable. I felt like there was a better name that could be used, and so I went with TIFF voices because it's really more about the storytelling, than making the person feel like they have to be on camera in order to read their story or share their story in a new medium, which is basically an audio medium. And so the idea behind TIFF Voices is, yes, I do intend on doing um, uh, another event where I have 2 sessions, group A and group B, and I have people come on with me and they read their story. But also, you can email me if you are at home at any point in time, want to record yourself reading one of your stories. I think the only real caveat is it should be, or I want it to be a story that was done this year. So it has to be in the calendar year of 2025. Otherwise, it could be any time this year. So it could be any time in the last 4 months, essentially. Um, you can record it and then email me the MP3 of yourself reading it. And the email is voices@topinfiction.com. And you could just send me that clip. There is a bunch um, of information you should copy and paste into the body of the email. To find what that is, you can go to the FAQs page. Our FAQs page has all the information you need on how to submit one of your stories that you've read, and this allows you to participate in TIFF Voices without needing to be on camera or live. Um, and next week, when I think, I don't know if it's a beta or if it's just going to be a straight up release. If and when I should have access to it or people start seeing they have access to it, maybe I will try it with someone who doesn't necessarily want to come on camera but wants to be on and either chat with me or read a story of their read their own work using that feature. But that is what TIFF Voices is. So I just want to give a reminder. I am looking to see when I will do the next one because I do have a lineup of people who wanted to participate. It was supposed to happen at the end of last month, but due to my sciatica and other health issues, I was unable to do that along with the other obligations that I had already. So in the coming weeks, look for an announcement. It probably won't be till June, just because May, or at least the end of May, is a bit heavy for me in terms of personal life things and top and fiction stuff and other stuff. So I don't think I could fit it in this month, but I will try next month. But in the interim, I would love for people to email me MP3s of them reading their own work, and I will be featuring them in weekly Monday issues as they come in. Just email it to me, and you're good to go. I think we just had our first one this past Monday. Um, it was, I don't wanna say her last name wrong, but Janine, was, let me see if I can quickly get, it was Janine Mc McBrearty. McBrearty. Her story was Why Some Guys Died Young, and it's a 7 minute and 43 second audio that she sent in. Featured it, boom, done. Very easy, very simple to do. I already told you guys about the monthly recap. I started with that, with explaining the 50-50 split, how that works. Um, so I updated the URL of the monthly recaps, and I'm going to eventually do this for the weekly recaps as well. But it's really time consuming, and actually a little bit backwards of me to have been doing it the way that I have, which is consistently getting a link for each folder for each month, the way I've been doing a folder for each week in the weekly ones. And that's too much for me to have to do, to have to convert each to from restricted to if a person has a link, blah, blah, blah. So instead of doing that, I am getting the link for um, the in the hierarchy of folders, the folder that's holding all the monthly folders. So instead of giving you the link for each particular month, when you get this link and you click on it, you're going to see essentially the folder for all 12 months in 2025. Obviously, they won't all have medallions in them because we've only done 4 months. So only the first 4 months will have medallions in them. But this will make it a lot easier for me so I don't have to constantly be changing the link for that. Like I said, eventually, probably this next Monday, the link that will be there for the weekly ones will be the folder that will just have all 52, essentially all 52 weeks in it. But you'll just have to go to your specific week to access the medallion for that week. All the others will be empty because we haven't done them yet. I don't know why I didn't think to do that before and why I had been doing it the way that I had, but when I did this monthly one and I was putting everything together, I realized, like, why don't I just, like, give you guys access to the main monthly folder or the main weekly folder, and then I don't have to, stress about making sure I put the right link in the right email, and it becomes, a hassle. Okay, the last thing is I just want to reiterate that we are doing the TIFF Presents ICU, EYECU is going to be a Friday the 13th writing event slash contest. I decided to make it both instead of just one, just because um, I'm hoping to have a cool prize for you guys with who the what happens with the winning story aside from it being fully the whole story being fully published on Top and Fiction and shared. There will be something else that happens. There will be a TIFF disruption for that on Friday the 13th of next month. The idea is all the participants who are going to be writing a story for this essentially will post and schedule to post their story on Friday the 13th, with the exception of the winner, who will be told who they are prior to, because we're going to have their story exclusive on Top and Fiction, and then they could cross post it onto their own Substack. So there will be deadlines and things because there will be judges. I will tell you who the judges are in the coming weeks. Hopefully, by the end of this month, I will have solidified who the judges are who will be reading the stories and what the prizes will be for the first top story and then the two runner-up stories for this writing event slash contest. I love horror, so you will notice that if I do any of these TIFF presents, it'll probably be a very horror leaning, but I am looking to try to incorporate other hey, that's the year I was born, William, so, that's why I had my brother got me this for it was either Christmas this past Christmas or my birthday last summer, I can't remember which, but, this is a hat from my brother. Um, what was I saying? Um so yeah, I want to do other genres. So if you have, if you love fantasy, sci-fi, speculative fiction, mystery, historical fiction, climate fiction, and you're doing an event, or maybe you have an idea for an event, but you feel like it's a heavy lift to do one some similar to this, so you want Top and Fiction to help you. That is what I'm here for. It's just that I'm not familiar with those other genres, so I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it on my own. But if you have the passion and the knowledge about what it is you want to do based on some important date, a birthday, something that has to do with whatever your genre is. For instance, we just did C.J. Sansom with Holly A. Brown for historical fiction, right? It was the anniversary of his death, and so she did the event. But if you have something and you want to do it, but you want my help in any way, shape, or form, and it's a specific genre, reach out. Poetry, I'm always looking for something to do with poetry, with romance, whatever the genre is. Just send me a DM and let's talk about it. Because horror I can do. I'm in spades all about the horror stuff and maybe some speculative fiction, but mostly horror. So I've already got plans for Halloween. And like I said, for next month, Friday the 13th, it's the only Friday the 13th of 2025. So I'm excited. Um, so horror stuff I'm good with, and the next TIFF Presents will probably be that. I've got another few for the end of the year that are really special to me that aren't horror, but that I really want to get um, sink my teeth into and have you guys participate in. But in the interim, there is this TIFF Presents June 13th. Someone else is using Discord to communicate to everyone who's going to be participating in a different event. Um, so if you want to, so I'm thinking I might do the same. I might just create a Discord server just to have a place to chat for the people who are participating in this so that I can get a sort of a head count. I know that not everyone uses Discord, so it's usually a, 70-30, 50-50 situation on if people will join the Discord because, they just might not know what it is or might not use it. Um, what did you just say about poetry? I was just saying if you have an event or an idea of an event that is around poetry. Unfortunately, we just had Poetry Month was in April. I know that that happens in April, and I wish someone had come to me and said, "I want to do an event for Poetry Month," da 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 da, da," because Top and Fiction would have totally helped with that. It's things that I'm not too familiar with or not comfortable with taking up on my own, but if you know of some special thing that has to do with a specific poet or poetry with a theme, and you want people to participate in it, and you want it to be a TIFF disruption or a TIFF presents, those are two options. One of them I will help you a bit more with, and the other one you have to take the reins, and I just come in at the very end. So, just to give you an idea. So, if you want to basically take the reins and just have Top and Fiction be a place where you know there are thousands of subscribers who will see it and interact with it, then but you are going to, find the people, organize it, track it, all of that stuff, then you want to do a TIFF disruption. And the idea behind TIFF disruption typically is that it's a surprise that we are participating and that we are collating all the stories and we are going to create one post that collates everything for you on the date that your event is supposed to happen. That would be a disruption. So you just tell me, hey, I've got this event. It's on this date. Can you do a TIFF disruption? And then I tell you what I need from you, but you're taking over the whole thing. I am totally hands off, other than creating the post for you. Now, a TIFF Presents is where I help you out a little bit more because that one is where I'm more hands on. I'm likely going to help you promote it along the way. I might help you like creating a spreadsheet if you need one, all of those things. I'll be a little more hands on with. So it'll be a collaboration between you and I, whereas the other one is 100% you. I'm just letting you use Top and Fiction as a means to get the word out on whatever your event is on the dates that the event happens. I call it a disruption because it's it's me sending out an email that's outside of the normal cadence of expectation for subscribers. They expect to get an email from me every Monday. And essentially that's it, unless you're getting TIFF notifications, which you get every Friday and Sunday. Um, that's the norm. But a disruption means you're about to get this email and it could be any day, any time, any place, anywhere type of situation. It's disrupting our normal flow, but there's a good reason for it because it's this huge event that's got like amazing content, amazing fiction, amazing whatever for you to read that you want to know about. So there's the two differences. It's about 50-50, or it's more I do more TIFF disruptions than presents. This will technically be the first presents that happens, and I'm really taking on the reins myself. Someone didn't come to me with this idea. I came up with it myself. and I'm putting it out there and I'm trying to see if it has any legs and see how far it goes and what we can do with this idea. I have some thoughts on it. Reaching out to people to say, hey, I have this idea on what I want to do with this. Do you want to help? And if you guys have any ideas for me on how far I can go with this, TIFF Presents ICU for Friday the 13th, um, please let me know because I do have a myriad of um, ideas. And if you have any ways you can help in terms of just creating um, the visuals, if you're good with Canva, if you want to help, um, with just sharing and spreading the word, any number of things, like just send me a DM. Let me know what your skill set is, and I'm sure that we can work things out. I'm trying to be more proactive in finding people who have skill sets that are better than my own so that I can level up how Top and Fiction works. And the only way I can do that is if you let me know what you're good at and we work together to see if there's a way to marry your skills with what Top and Fiction is trying to do and trying to reach, and we work together and make magic. You know what I mean? Um, but anyway, that's it for now. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for understanding when I had to cut back a lot of what I'm doing. Just another reminder, there are no more weekly live with me. Um, just let's just say the next time you should expect to see me is I'm not saying you won't see me sooner, but the next time you should expect to see me is June 4th, um, which is the next monthly recap. Um, and another reminder is medallions no longer exist for weekly um, emails. So moving forward, the weekly emails will not even have the link to download medallions because that has officially been discontinued. There will only be medallions for monthly. Um, and now that I think about it, um, all of the stories featured in monthly, starting with the one that comes out June 4th, will receive a medallion, regardless of whether you have an asterisk or not. So I should probably remove that from the email today because regardless of whether or not you have an asterisk or not, starting with June 4th, so any stories featured in May where none of them will receive medallions, so monthly recap stories will all receive medallions since nobody's receiving any during the week. It's just a way to help me cut back on the workload that I have to do already to keep Top and Fiction afloat on my own. So just remember that you won't see me this coming Monday, but the next time you'll see me is June 4th. You might see me sooner than that just because you never know. But I sometimes like to keep TIFF disruptions and other things under my hat and a secret until they actually happen. So I'm hoping that becomes a norm and people will show up when they see me go live because they'll realize that this is a disruption and it's going to be really cool and you really want to show up for it, right? Um, okay, so that's it from me. I'm going to now wait for this VOD to become available to me, and then I will shoot out the email, and you guys will get that within the next hour or so. All right. So have a good Wednesday. Have a good rest of your week, and till next time.